Hi, we will be going into our 4th episode of this podcast, and we will be hearing an interview from Maddie where she interviews a girl named Kelly Clark who is in the musical theater community.
Hi, this is Maddie McDevitt, and today I'm sitting down with...
Hi, I'm Kelly Clark.
So, Kelly, we are often part of various communities that give us a sense of belonging and support and allow us to connect with others with similar experiences and interests. These can be based on location, shared identity or culture, common interests or hobbies, professional affiliations, or any commonalities that bring people together. Essentially, a community is a group of people who share a story. So these can be small, close-knit groups or large. So can you tell me about a community that you are a part of?
I'm a woman involved in several different performing arts communities. I am a singer-songwriter in a rock band near the Asbury Park scene, I guess. I'm involved in the Asbury Park music community. And we play all around Ocean County. Sometimes we go up north. And I'm also an actress. I've been in several different musical theater and straight play dramatic productions, also around Ocean County. And I'm actually award-winning. I've received statewide recognition, countywide recognition. And yeah, that's my deal. I'm a performer.
That's really awesome. So you really are involved in a lot of different aspects in the arts. And you're a theater studies major, right?
Yeah, with a concentration in theater education.
Nice. So why is this community important to you?
The theater studies and theater community specifically is important to me because we're storytellers, and it's kind of the job of actors to convey the human experience in a way that is relatable and understood. And I think telling stories and keeping stories alive is such a great way to bring people together, not only like specific cultural communities or religious communities, but just people in general. When people see a story and they can put themselves in the shoes of a character, and then like it's the actor's job to, portray that character, I think it's a really beautiful connection that can be established between theater maker and theater goer.
So, especially as a woman in the arts, why is this community important? What does it kind of do for you as a woman?
As a woman, I feel so honored that I have places to really shine. I'm not embarrassed or shy to say, as a statement, I'm talented. I don't think that's a shallow thing or a narcissistic thing to say at all. And theater and performance and being a part of this community has done nothing but uplift my spirit and uplift my confidence. I'm sure many people that are involved in the performing arts will tell you that they are kind of shy to verbalize that statement and say, I'm pretty talented. I can do this professionally. Because there's a lot of stigma around the word talent and talented, and I don't think it should be that way. And I think more women in this community specifically are owning who they are and owning their abilities and owning their talents and owning their skills and being the best storytellers, singers, songwriters, musicians, playwrights that they possibly can be. And they're doing right by the world and doing right by their community by just putting their best foot forward at that.
Yeah, I really agree with that, especially as a lot of more contemporary female playwrights and composers come to light, especially when historically that has been frowned upon. So I agree. I think they're very important stories to tell. It's
kind of interesting too when you think about it from a music perspective. Was it Mozart's sister? I think it might have been Mozart. I'm not really sure. I'm not a music major, music person specifically in that kind of classical context. But I think it was Mozart's sister that was also a very skilled composer, but a lot of her work was either lost or ignored, diminished.
Yeah, and you think about the Schumanns,
Clara Schumann.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least we know about Clara Schumann. I don't even know Mozart's sister's name. Yeah. I don't even know if it's Mozart's sister. But I'm sure there were so many brilliant female painters, poets, playwrights, musicians that have just been lost to history because they were born in a kind of unfortunate time period. And I'm glad we don't live that way anymore. Mm-hmm. It's in this field specifically, it's a very liberal field. it's unheard of to imagine like women not being a part of it. And I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. So with that being said, can you talk about any strengths that you see in this community?
Any strengths? I think the female experience is so unique that in new works and new play development specifically, we get to hear a lot of unique stories about maybe things like sexual abuse, domestic violence, and eating disorders, things that are mainly, not always, but mainly female problems. I think that representation is important, and the emotions that come from being in a situation like that or having that happen to you are very deep and complex, and they should be put on stage to help people heal.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think it is very important, and I really appreciate that answer. That was really good. So, the other side of that coin, are there any issues or challenges that are important to this community that they face?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But specifically in the Broadway circuit, thinking of musical theater, like I mentioned, eating disorders being an issue, there's a lot of, even now, it's not as bad as it was in, say, like 2012 or 2013 or something prior to that, but like the narrative of the Broadway body, I think is so toxic, and it promotes eating disorders, unhealthy lifestyles, and just a glamorization of something that is not healthy. And I'd like to see in the future, Broadway, specifically that industry, become more accepting of different types of bodies, not just plus size bodies, but tall bodies, maybe disabled bodies. I just don't think Broadway, it preaches inclusivity, you know, and for an industry that preaches inclusivity, I don't think it's right for them to place an unfair standard on women's bodies, specifically.
Yeah, I do think that there is that unattainability that
yeah,
comes with
and
it.
It creates toxicity within the community, because you'll have girls in a dance call or people in an audition room saying stuff like, I didn't eat today, I haven't eaten all day. And it's not like complaining, it's not bemoaning their day, it's bragging. And it's a way to get like a once over on the other girls in the room and shame them for doing something that their body needs. I don't think that's okay at all. And I'd like in the future to see more advocacy against that in the Broadway circuit.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think there's a lot of competition between women in this field too? Because I feel that way sometimes, that women are usually put against each other to compete. In high school theater spaces, it can be very discouraging to see that happen, because I feel like that's where it happens the most, because at the end of the day, you're kids in high school, you're immature, maybe not everybody is as serious about it as you, and it can just be a difficult place to navigate. But in the professional working world, I've only done maybe 2 or 3 theater things professionally that were strictly like theater, and that's like the industry we're talking about right now. So in my experience, I think in the professional world, it's more about artists looking at other artists and saying, I never thought about it like that before, or that's a really creative and interesting choice, I don't know why I didn't see it that way. It's different women bring different takes on characters, on their script analysis, on their character analysis, and sometimes it fits a collaborative vision with directors and writers, and sometimes it doesn't, but it's not as mean-spirited as it was in a high school setting. I'll say that. I definitely think in a professional world, that is one of the strengths of the community, is being able to come together and collaborate, especially with telling these stories. But thank you so much, Kelly, for sitting down with me.
Of course.
I've really appreciated all of your answers about the community of women in the arts. And yeah, I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow, that was a really powerful interview done by Maddie. I thought that it really brings, it shines light on the music community, specifically women in the arts, because that is what she was focusing on for her interviews. I really liked how the interviewee mentioned that the community, specifically theater, helps to bring people together of all different backgrounds, and how no matter like where you're from, what language you speak, anything of that nature, like you can just sit there and you can enjoy it, and I just think that it's really awesome.
Yeah, I loved how articulate and confident she was in her interview, and I loved how she talked about the importance of women sharing their stories. I also appreciate her bringing light on the challenges that women face, like toxic beauty standards and women feeling that they need a thinner body in order to be accepted on Broadway. And I love how she advocated that there should be like more representation, and that Broadway should be more inclusive of diverse body types.
I couldn't agree more with that. I think it's very notable to bring that to attention. I was unaware of the whole Broadway body stereotype, and I'm not much of a Broadway watcher, so like I didn't really know much about that, but I think that is awesome that she was able to mention that and advocate against it, because that is something that should change. And I really do think that like the beauty standards shouldn't really be a thing. Like I don't think there needs to be standards on beauty. Everyone is beautiful in their own way, and yeah.
So I actually wasn't surprised about her bringing up the toxic beauty standards, because in one of my classes we were doing a research topic, and I chose to research ballet and the dark sides of the ballet industry, and that's where I learned about like toxic beauty standards and things like that. And I think it's very prevalent in general for like in women's sports or like dance forms or art related things that women are in. There's always like some beauty standards that are enforced on them, and I think with our society in general, women are expected to look a certain way in order to be accepted. But I am still glad overall that she brought up the issue.
Alright guys, thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. We hope you enjoyed it, and join us next time for our 5th episode.